your physical gauge, please.
I'm such a physical specimen.
Well, I got chosen to do the physical gauge by Lou personally because I'm sure all of you know all the physical stuff I went through in the past couple months, 2-3 months. So I'm gonna kind of sum it up. I had a back injury, and they still had me working. They had me on light duty, and I had to stand there like Steve is standing here all day greeting people. That's fine. That's fine. And he doesn't have a huge smile on his face, and neither did I. It was affecting all of my gauges. You know, my physical gauge was, I'll pop them all back up. It was affecting my spiritual gauge. It was affecting my mental and my emotional gauge. Because I feel that God has given me the gift of going out and making new friends, random people, and yada, yada, yada. Well, I wasn't doing that every time throughout all of my physical pain. And then I wind up in the ICU for hypothermia. It's like, okay, that just drops the physical gauge even lower. So, and the reason my physical gauge was going so low was because I just wasn't resting. And that's something we all got to take into account. My physical gauge going down so much was due to me. It was my fault. I wasn't taking a day of rest. I wasn't stopping and resting. I would go to work, I'd come home, I would work some more. This next verse comes from Genesis. Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. On the seventh day, God finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. That right there is telling us something. We need to rest. I mean, God rested. We ain't as good as God, and he rested.
I'm tired, and maybe I'm not talking and interacting as much as I should because I just don't have that energy level. So this is a huge one for me.
It's awesome.
Right now.
My thing is waking up before everyone else. I go to the gym. I have sloughed off of it going in the morning and doing it in the evening. But really at the end of the day, everybody in my house are happy campers when I go to the gym at 5:30. And I come home and I get everyone ready and I go to work and get everything done. It's a whole nother mindset because that's between me and God. That's my hour, that's my time. No one's calling me mom and this is what I need to do. It's crazy when I actually focus more on myself and me time. And I know it's crazy at 5:30 in the morning, but it is what it is, and I can get on with it. But I watch if I try to do it in the evening, or if I try to get me time when it's kid time or family time, it never works. So I really feel that God has pulled me to that direction to get me to that point.
You're saying something really significant. The whole time you're talking about your physical time, you're talking about how it's your time with God. So your physical gauge is directly linked to your spiritual gauge.
Yes.
We all have the same amount of time. There's been times when I've always said, well, I don't have time to really spend, I'm having a hard time finding a quiet time with God or to exercise or something. And I found, like what you're saying, getting up early before everybody else, God is the giver of energy and strength. And if you ask him, God, can I do with a little bit less sleep and to have some time with you and to exercise in the morning, he'll give you what you need.
Your physical gauge up there on a 9, is that what you got there? So we want to see a 9 come out of that physical gauge. So if you just want to grab that red ball and give it a 9, we want to see what that looks like. Stop that.
I can handle
Okay.
That wasn't a 9, that was a 3. Squeeze that hard.
it. Oh, you gotta do a heart.
Yeah,
tastes one of here.
There you go.
Okay, thank you for that excellent illustration, Eli, nice job.
No, I like this.
Maybe the next.
I think we need to give
I'm not
Steve
in
a good hand, he's been a good sport. Thank you, Steve, for being our human dashboard.
Do I get to speak as a dashboard?
Sure, hold
I
on.
watched Matt come over and get his cell phone. I watched my cell phone upstairs suck its battery out completely. Are you the type of person who plugs your cell phone in before it's completely dead? Or do you wait and then you gotta plug it in, then you're trying to talk with the cord hanging around your ear? You know, as we look at this whole thing, we've gotta be plugged in all the time. We can't wait till it runs all the way down and then try to, because there's a time lapse there where it just doesn't work right. God wants us to be full all the time. And so as I think about that, that's one of the things as the gauge model here. And then the other thing that I think is important is the verse that you have in here, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And then it goes to the part where it says love your neighbor, and we say, hey, well we can do that, you know, because God tells me part. But what's the next part of that verse? As yourself. The key to all of this part in here is that do we love ourselves enough? It's all in the same package. That's a command from God that we're supposed to do that. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And love your neighbor as yourself. If we really love ourselves as much as we're supposed to love God and love our neighbor, we're going to make sure that we take care of these things. Okay? We're not going to spray water in people's face because that's just a terrible thing to do. And so we're going to, you know, but I think the key to that a lot of times is we forget that part that says love ourselves. We feel guilty. I have to put everybody else, and the reality is we're in the same package. It's all in the same box. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. So my question was, and I don't have a piece of paper, is how do you love yourself today? How are you doing with that? Are you looking at yourself the way that other people look at yourself, or are you looking at yourself the way that God looks at you? Everybody will run you all the way to empty if we allow them. You know, if we don't take the phone back and plug it in before it gets to that point. And so we try to go out there, we're charged up, the phone's charged up, we're going to do everything we can, all of my own power, and then it's going to be dead. You know, and the reality is we have to be charged all the time. So I don't know how that comes from someone with water in his ear, but that's the best, as I stood here today, that I can tell from that. So thank